TechRadar article about how a lot of people don't realize that they're being tracked when they are shopping. It was kind of a shorter article, but the conversation, I guess, around it kind of blew up a lot more than maybe the meat of the article itself. But it was basically, if you use your credit card at like a merchant online or in person, and you associate um, any information, so like oftentimes it's kind of like these reward programs, right? Like if you go to Kroger, you go to CVS, you go to um, Walgreens, you go to Whole Foods, wherever, right? You're always associating some loyalty membership program with your transaction data. So then you know exactly, or the store knows exactly who you are, what you're buying, how much of it you're buying it for. And then on top of that, with the rise of just kind of facial recognition in general, how many stores are really implementing these kinds of cameras and tracking systems that you have no idea about, right? You walk into a store, there's no like even 50-page terms and conditions that you're reading when you walk into that store. You're just abiding by their rules, and are kind of subject to them all, right? And so um, I think there's just a lot of people don't realize like how much tracking probably is happening at the store, at the retail level, because a lot of the attention goes to like online and maybe more digital tracking. But in-person tracking is still very real, and retail tracking is big. I think a big sign of that is there was just a news article yesterday about how Amazon is looking at building out big box retail stores. So you go full circle from basically running every mom and pop retail shop out of business, and then we're going to come back and build our own big box retail stores in place of those, essentially. So I don't know if you guys have any experience with this or saw anything about it, and have any more to add.
I think a common man doesn't know the level of tracking that goes on in there. Just a couple of weeks back, we went to a store, and a store that we have never been to here in Austin, and my wife swiped her card, and then just walked out. And a minute later, she got the receipt in an email, and she did not provide her email. She did not provide her phone number, but she received a receipt in her email, and she was freaked out. How do they know more about me, right? End of the day, I think they were using Square or something,
Yeah,
and
Square.
Square automatically collects all this data because of this. They are they are the hub. They are at the intermediate level, collecting all this information across these sources and mapping, tying all of this. All you need to do is provide your phone number or an email address once, and then they have you, and they can map your location and whatnot. On top of it, all you have to do is map they or a store that scans your face and does facial recognition, and then swipe your card at that store. Then all of that is permanently mapped in there, and that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And only if some of us who look into it deeply are the ones that are familiar, and we are an extreme minority. But a common man doesn't know that it's going on, and they are obviously going to be freaking out when something like this happen.
Yeah. I'm just going to pop this up again real quick because Raju actually you kind of outlined what this thing said from this article. It says what once you go to a merchant either and use your credit card online or offline, they got certain information, and then when you come in the store and you use that same card and maybe they have facial recognition, so now they've mapped your face to your personal information. And as this thing says, large vendors such as Walmart now associate phone and email and cards with your facial recognition information. So they've got you. And I'll say, I think this whole pandemic and having to go contactless, that might have been the biggest gift to companies that there has been, because a lot of transactions and interactions that were analog, you go into a store, you pay with cash, you don't use your loyalty card, they don't know who you are. They just know that somebody came in and bought some stuff. Now, because of contactless, they know exactly who you are, what you buy, when you buy it, how much of it you buy, and how often you buy it. Look at the power and the data that got gifted to them because of this need to be contactless. It really accelerated this whole conversation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like the amount of stores that you go to nowadays, even if it's like a food truck here in Austin or something, I would say a vast majority don't even take cash anymore, right? It's just not their cup of tea, and they're all using either these Square POS systems or some other POS system that we talked about a couple weeks ago about how those systems do a deep level of tracking, and people have no idea about it.
These are all
Good.
pass through aggregators where when a lot of information passes through a common system, they try to take advantage of it and map the patterns and try to make money other way by selling that information. Not that everyone's doing it, but there is that possibility, and they try to monetize it in multiple ways. Like Square is in the middle, right? Because a lot of merchant use it on one side, a lot of customers use it on the other side. The same thing is the antivirus thing we were talking about. Avast is in that middleman, and that's the reason they are trying to take advantage of it. The same thing we have seen in the past with the payroll systems like ADP, because they have all this information on one side, and then they have transactions and being made on the other side. In every single scenario, they are these middlemen. They have all the information. Some genius somewhere said, "Hey, we have all this information. We can monetize it," not thinking about the privacy implications. And sure, they got their check. They make money, but they are abusing people's privacy and all that information.